Welcome to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast, where we discuss cutting-edge techniques, industry trends, and business insights to take your fence or deck company to the next level and dominate your competition.
Welcome back to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Danner, and today I have a very exciting guest for you today that I'll introduce in just a moment. But if you've listened to the podcast before, you know we do different types of segments. It might be something where I'm talking about digital marketing and how to better your fence or deck business with marketing. Another time I bring on industry experts, and today that's exactly what we've done. I'm bringing on Rudy McAdams of Outdoor Specialties in Maryland, and super excited to have him on here. Rudy, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Alex. How are you?
I'm doing well.
On a rainy, ugly day outside?
Just pouring outside.
Very good. Thanks for having me. Good to be here.
Yep, thanks for making the trek. And it's kind of an interesting story. So I was trying to think about ways to bring some unique audience members guests on the show. And I was looking around, I was like, maybe I should find somebody that actually sells, deck boards or fence materials. And then I look online and I'm like, all right, well, let's start with Trex. And I found went on the website, found a Trex dealer near me, and Rudy and his business was probably 15 miles away, something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, not very far. Looked at his website. Rudy had all kinds of experience with, you'll see in a second, just the wealth of knowledge he has on anything related to deck boards. But thought, why not give him a call, see if he'd be kind enough to come out here and, share his experiences with everybody. And sure enough, he came out, and within a week, I think, is when we started the podcast.
It turned out great for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rudy, if you wouldn't mind, just tell me a little bit about yourself. I know you have a background in mechanical engineering and all kinds of, industry experience with composite deck boards. So, just tell me a little bit about that.
Just briefly, I started my career, I guess, in engineering in the water treatment engineering business, and was there for about 6 years, and then I was hired by a plastic piping expert who asked me to come to work for him, and my technical background helped him tremendously. And then I got a little tired of working for somebody else, and my father-in-law actually at the time suggested I go into the plastic piping business, and I did. So I was in the plastic piping business itself for about 20 years. And this is not plastic piping like you use in your house. This was big diameter piping, could be as big as 24 inches. Wow. You're hard to imagine that, but it's and high tech piping, things like high purity piping. We did a lot of high purity piping for people like IBM and Toshiba, and people in the business of making chips. So we had a lot of fiberglass pipe and a lot of PVC pipe. But so that was really my background in engineering and then in plastic piping, and then we got into the business of composite decking. Which it's kind of I think I've had 3 jobs in my life. So I'm an old dude. Old as dirt, but I've been doing this for a long time. So I'm fairly knowledgeable about what I do.
Yeah. So that was a pretty easy transition to composite decking?
It was very easy. Plastic piping to plastic decking, it just made sense.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, the plastic decking business became so large, so quick, that we had to let go of the plastic piping business, which was substantial at the time. But the plastic lumber business really just took a foothold and then just took off.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting to watch.
Yeah. Okay. So, Outdoor Specialties, how long have you been in business?
So Outdoor Specialties was a company called Leisure Specialties. It was we had a name change about 6 years ago, and so we changed it from Leisure to Outdoor Specialties. So all told, I've probably been in the plastic lumber business for about 25 years.
Wow.
I've been around, I know, like I said, I'm old as dirt. I've been around for a long time. So it's been a interesting transition.
Yeah.
and it's been fun. I would say it's been fun. I've met a lot of interesting people and sold a lot of interesting products. A plastic piping business took me to a lot of places that the ordinary people just don't go to. It took me into the belly of industry and the power business and the water treatment business. It was really, everybody uses plastic piping of some sort. So it was kind of interesting. It was definitely not residential at all.
Okay.
It was all industrial or commercial.
Okay. Well, then, as of now, with Outdoor Specialties, I mean, how many employees do you have?
Outdoor Specialties right now is very small. We have 5 people total.
Okay.
And we like it that way. So Outdoor Specialties, when we had the name change, we ran into some financial difficulties back in 2008, like everybody else did. And we changed the name of the company, changed locations, went to at one time we had 50 people working for us. We're down to 5 now, and we like it a lot better. It's a lot nicer. We get to have a relationship with the customer now instead of having to treat them just like a number.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more interesting, and it's a lot funner to go to work now.
Okay. Did you ever do installs or any other things besides?
We do not. So we only sell the product and we inventory the product, and that's important because there are guys out there that may say they're in the business, but they don't really. They just have a phone and they pick up and order the material and bring it in, then resell it to you and make money on it. We have a substantial inventory. And a very interesting display center. We have where people can come in and see our products, see the products that they want to choose from. And Trex, AZEK, and TimberTech are the 3 major products. But the Trex deck is a deck that's about 40 by 16, two floors high. With a spiral staircase and a curved staircase. It's very, very unique. Very unique. And the TimberTech AZEK display is about the same size.
Wow.
I have people in every day that are so confused that they have a tough time picking what they want because there's so much to choose from. The good news is, though, they get to take samples with them. They're no charge. They just get to take a hand sample with them of any product that they think they may be interested in.
Yeah.
And, of course, those decks have railings with them as well. It's not just decking. There are a myriad of railings that you can choose from, aluminum, composite, vinyl. Vinyl being PVC. It's quite an interesting. It becomes pretty interesting sometimes.
Yeah, and I would love to see it. I know we were talking about maybe going to your shop to do the interview, but we weren't sure, especially with the rain also. Things and
pretty ugly out there today.
Yeah, so glad you came out this way. But in terms of your customers, I mean, which markets? I mean, are you doing outside of Maryland? I mean, who do you typically supply for?
So we try and stay pretty local, I guess you would say. We deliver. We have our own truck. We have our own guys making deliveries. Because of that, we try and stay fairly local. We'll go as far away as Ocean City from here, and we'll go into southern Pennsylvania and to northern Virginia. And DC, of course, but pretty much we stay in central Maryland, in Carroll County, in Baltimore County, Howard County, little Montgomery County. That's mostly where our business is.
Okay. All right, and then I'm curious, like on the supply side, I know your background. Was it strategic in terms of maybe why you didn't want to do installs? I mean, I guess that's what I'm trying to, because most of our listeners that I know of are, installers. So I think everybody's kind of curious about the supply side. Is there a reason why you want to go there, go into there?
Well, honestly, we didn't want to become competition for our customers. As a supplier, we can either sell to homeowners or sell to contractors. But if we're an installer, we automatically become a competitor of the contractors. And we, as much as we value our homeowner business, we value our contractors. I mean, we help them. I help them every day with problems that they may have. They send customers in. They use our showroom as their showroom, so they can bring people in, bring their customers in, and they can do that without fear of us taking their customers from them.
Yeah.
And that was a really important part, and we've never installed. We have had the opportunity to, but we just don't want it.
Yeah. Well, I've spoken to quite a few people that were on the supply side, just people that call in to my business, and I guess I'm just wondering, do you think it is a better business too? I mean, is it something that's more profitable versus the install, like less headaches? I guess that's what I'm wondering, if there's anybody out there that's maybe thinking about becoming a supplier, because the listeners here are anywhere in the U.S. or Canada.
Sure.
Not just it's not just Maryland, but any thoughts on that? I mean,
I believe it's it really relies on your expertise. I'm not an installer. I'm not a guy that certainly I can use a hammer and saw and nails and screws and things, but that's not my my expertise. I can maybe I can help build you a bridge, but I can't do the installation itself. That was really not my bailiwick in the first place. So it's always been on either the engineering side or on the supply side. And we've been on the supply side forever. We've never one time gone into the installation business. So I kind of like that. The contractors are very friendly towards us, as are the homeowners, and they don't hesitate to send their homeowners in because we're not competitors.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in terms of volume, like how much deck boards are you selling each year?
We sell a couple of $1 million worth of decking alone, with not including railing. So we sell a little over $3 million worth of decking a year, and that breaks down as about $2.5 million worth of Trex. AZEK and TimberTech are the same company, actually. AZEK Building Products bought TimberTech. So we used to treat them differently because there is a significant difference in the decking and the way it's manufactured. But so we sell about $1.5 million worth of Trex and a little over $1 million worth of AZEK and TimberTech. So it kind of breaks down pretty good.
Okay. I see. I guess I had it backwards. So TimberTech, AZEK bought TimberTech, not the other way around?
That's correct. AZEK Building Products bought TimberTech.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And there is we still refer to them as AZEK versus TimberTech, because TimberTech is made of a composite. It's 50% plastic, 50% wood, and AZEK is 100% plastic, PVC. And for just for terms of clarification, the term vinyl is synonymous with PVC. PVC stands for polyvinyl chloride. So the vinyl, the short version, comes out of the PVC initials. So when we refer to vinyl, we're referring to PVC. And so AZEK is a vinyl product, solid vinyl product, where TimberTech and Trex are wood fiber composite products. So they're 50% wood and 50% plastic, both of them. So we still refer to AZEK as AZEK. We still know it as an AZEK PVC product.
Okay. Well, you touched on Trex, TimberTech, AZEK, are those the only brands you supply? Do you know any
No,
others?
we supply some other brands, in Fiberon, Wolf, are two other products that we handle. But we really only supply them based on people's requirements and asking for them. We don't promote them, and we don't promote them just because they're not mainstays in the decking business. AZEK, Trex is number one, and then AZEK and TimberTech are 2 and 3. So they're the big three.
Yeah.
It really doesn't pay to push anybody else or promote anybody else.
Are there any particular instances where it makes sense to go to those other brands, to like Fiberon? And do they offer anything where, depending on the situation, they would be able to solve the customer's problem better than the others?
They cannot.
Okay.
There it is, and I tell customers this all the time when they come in the door. Pick your decking from the displays based on color and texture. Before you worry about price, pick a color, pick a texture, and they have their hands full with that. Certainly price comes into account. You have a huge deck on the back of the house, so pricing in your case would be an important factor. You know, if you have a 10 by 10 deck, 100 square feet, who cares what the price is? I mean, honestly, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But if you have a deck like you and I have, for example, we have 1,000, 1,200 square feet on the back of our house,
Adds up.
that makes a difference. That every dollar a foot is equivalent to double that for a square foot. So that's equivalent to $2 a square foot.
Yeah.
Every dollar per foot. So, and a deck board, by the way, is so people like to talk about square footage, but a deck board is always 5.5 inches wide. Doesn't matter who the manufacturer is, it's going to be 5.5 inches wide. So we refer to it in square footage. It takes 2 deck boards, 5.5 inches wide, a foot long to make a square foot, roughly a square foot. So when you take the price per foot and double it, that becomes the square foot price.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. Well then, do you have any favorites? I mean, do you like Trex more than AZEK or TimberTech?
Me personally, I do not.
No? Okay.
Now, I will tell you that, for example, if you're building a deck around a pool and it's going to be full sun, blazing sun all day long, AZEK is going to be a cooler product just by nature, just by the fact that it's solid PVC and there's no wood in it, and the wood gets hot. So, as you know, any deck that's out there that's made of wood, it gets hot you have kids. I mean, it's going to be tough to walk on if it's out there in the full sun.
Yep.
PVC, vinyl, Trex, AZEK is made of solid plastic, so it's about 10 degrees cooler in the same sun that the wood is in. And that 10 degrees doesn't sound like a lot, but it's significant when the sun is beating on your deck.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer your question, as a as a preference, I personally would go with AZEK if I had a direct sun issue long term, all day long. And I don't mean by the sun passing over the house and it's on your deck for an hour and then it goes away behind the trees.
Right.
But some people have a deck that is out in the full sun all day long.
Yeah.
And they get very hot. That's a problem. Preference-wise, I prefer Trex because of its colors and its color selection.
Yeah.
But AZEK, from a material standpoint, I like a little better than Trex.
Okay.
And there's downfalls to both, but that's probably my Trex colors and Trex colors and texture just appeal to me. They're more wood-like looking than an AZEK board is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then while we're talking about wood boards, I mean, we were talking about that when I was showing you my deck, and I got to restain and replace some boards. But if you wouldn't mind talking about kind of the history of that, like how wood decking, you've seen it, because you've probably seen the I guess, regression in quality over the years.
Yeah, it's definitely a quality issue. So if you're an installer, and installers would know this, the pressure treated has changed significantly in the last 8 years. Uncle Sam, Big Brother, has opted to eliminate CCA, chrome cyanide, and arsenic from the standard treatment process for pine, which is normally pine treated lumber. They've eliminated that. So their new treatment process initially had a tremendous problem with corrosion on fasteners and things that held the decking together. And they've finally come to grips with that by changing fasteners and changing the treatment process a little bit. But initially, the CCA lumber, and if you have an old CCA deck, it is better than today's lumber by far, no question. Just like composite decking is better today than it was 30 years ago when it first started, it is the new treated has gone away. So they've eliminated the corrosion problems, but they haven't eliminated the weathering problems. And the weathering on today's treated wood is horrible. It doesn't last very long. There are many decks out there that are having problems with treated lumber actually deteriorating, especially on the joists. And these poor guys are having to go back and replace decks or repair them because of the government actually changing the treatment process on them. Very important to note, and this is very important, guys. If you're watching this, the joist tape that goes over top of, or there is a product called joist tape that goes over top of today's joists. So one of the problems was when they changed the CCA out of or to today's process, and they took CCA away, the water that gets trapped in between the deck boards and the joists underneath, the treated joists underneath. So the water that gets trapped in that, so if the joist is like this and the deck board is laying across it, the water gets trapped underneath of it, and then it eventually penetrates the deck board, and the joist underneath just rots away. I have many pictures of people that have had decks today, haven't used joist tape, and nobody knew that when they first changed the process, that decks are 8 years old and they're collapsing. I mean, they're just falling apart because they didn't use joist tape. So in today's world, always use joist tape. Doesn't matter who's the manufacturer, it doesn't matter, just use something underneath between the joist and the deck board itself, so that when the deck board goes down on top of it, the water doesn't get trapped. And it's especially important on, let's say, Alex, like a deck like yours, where you're going to replace the top of the decking and you're going to put something back down. Well, all those screws that are in there now have created holes in the decking. Right. All the water's going to just soak down into there and can become a problem. Today's treated is the major issue. Now your deck is old-time composite. I mean, old-time treated. Mm-hmm. So you probably won't have a problem. The old CCA lumber holds up very well. It's today's treated lumber that just doesn't stand the test of time.
And you don't think it's going to ever get better? There's no way. The government's involved, I guess. Maybe not.
I guess the government felt that some kid's gonna. So it really came from your picnic table's made out of pressure treated, and the kids are eating lunch on the treated, and they're flopping a peanut butter sandwich down on the treated, and then they're gonna pick up their sandwich and eat it. Now they're eating CCA. Well, there's no reported problems of anybody ever having problems with that, but Big Brother just decided to change it, and that doesn't happen anyway. Certainly, a kid's not going to put a peanut butter sandwich on a joist anyway. But that's where it came from. It came from being afraid that kids were going to eat it, and then that the other problem was of course the airborne substance when you cut it. I mean, it becomes just a gazillion flying pieces that are that you breathe in on CCA. So I grant you that could have been an issue, but it was never reported to be an issue.
Yeah.
I don't think, to answer your question, I don't think it's ever coming back. I think there's been enough people arguing the fact that they've just turned a blind ear to, a deaf ear to changing that back to CCA. You can still get CCA as let's say you're building a pier down on the water. You can still get CCA, but you can't get it for residential use. It's banned for that.
Just because it's going to be exposed to harsher conditions, they just say like, okay.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
CCA is a great product until you add the UV to it. CCA is still a really good product, and you know this by you go down to the bay. We live around the Chesapeake Bay, so it's easy to go see. So you can go down to the bay and see the docks, piers that are just cut off at the surface of the water. They've just deteriorated. Well, everything that's deteriorated is above water. The UV has gotten to it, the elements have gotten to it, and that wood has rotted away. Everything underneath the water is in good shape. It's still in good shape because the UV doesn't get to it. And then of course, the atmosphere itself doesn't get to it. The climate doesn't get to it. So there's many times you'll see pieces of poles just sticking up out of the water just to show you where the pier was, but nobody takes the time to dig those things out of the water. They're just falling apart and cut off at the surface.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, in Maryland, I'm just curious, like the amount of deck boards you sell, what % is wood versus composite?
We sell no wood.
Oh, really? Okay.
We sell no wood. We a long time ago, when we got into the composite decking business, we did sell CCA when it was still around, and I'm glad we got out of it, thank goodness. But we sold it only for the structure underneath.
Okay.
Sold no decking for the surface. And today we don't sell treated at all, but we do sell composite for the top. But we don't sell any wood whatsoever. And I would say, based on the amount of people we have coming in, it's a rare occasion, but every now and then I get somebody that is going to go with wood, mostly because of cost.
Yeah.
Really for no other reason.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you put wood down?
Yeah.
It's starting to deteriorate from the day you put it down. Now, wood carries a lot of categories. So wood is, like Ipe, for example, African hardwood. Ipe is fabulous. I mean, it's as hard as rocks. It's never going away. Treated, that's a different story.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have to go into the marketing side of things, so I'm
Sure.
curious because I don't think we even talked about this, quite honestly, but I'm curious on the supply side, what you're doing. You mentioned a couple things when we spoke before we started, but just curious, how are customers finding you?
So they find us through things like this, through the radio, through the internet. We're listed on the manufacturer's websites as a supplier.
That's how I found you.
Yeah, sure. It's and we are pretty big in what we do and pretty knowledgeable in what we do. So people seek us out through word of mouth. That's a lot of business as well. People, and our pricing is good. That word gets out. We are the cheapest guys in town, so that word gets out through a contractor network, and the homeowners know it and they pass it on. So our business continues to grow,
Nice.
and we are in a rental space that has doubled in size, and is going to get bigger again, expand again, just because business is growing.
Yeah. Okay. You touched on radio, so are you running like radio ads?
We are.
Okay. And then you said some kind of like recording studio you guys have. Is that for video too, or?
Not for us, no.
Okay.
The studio was the radio's studio.
You created video ads, or is it just audio through the?
We have not.
Okay.
We did. We did create an ad, a video ad, and ran it, but it wasn't forecast, or it wasn't promoted in the way that I think it should have been promoted.
Okay.
We were trying to find we've done just about everything. I mean, we do mailers. We had a mailer go out the other day that's I don't know, maybe 3,500 pieces of mail that went out to contractors.
Okay.
So we've tried a lot of different avenues. Some work, some don't. It's the radio advertising has certainly worked for us, no question. The mailers have worked because the pictures of the displays are on the mailer, so it's an oversized postcard. That has worked well for us in the past. But I think probably the difference, I think radio and word of mouth has worked the best. And certainly being on the manufacturer's websites has helped a lot.
Yeah.
No question.
Okay. And I'm curious because I ask this question a lot about radio ads. As you know, we do digital marketing, so websites, SEO through Google, Facebook ads. It's all digital stuff. I guess radio maybe technically could be digital, I guess, too. But I'm just curious of cost, because I've also been asked that too. How much radio ads cost? Are they expensive? Obviously, they're working for you, but I'm just curious. Like
They're not expensive.
They're not? Okay.
They're not. I think there's a misconception that if you're going to be on the radio, it's going to cost you a fortune. Certainly, it depends on the time frame and the frequency. And you're a marketing guy. Frequency is more important than anything.
Yep, gotta get those impressions.
You can't get effective results doing something one time.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so people on the radio, for example, people have the misconception that, well, I was running my radio ads for a month and I didn't get any calls. Well, come on. I mean, really? How often did you run them? How many times a day? To what audience did you run them to? And you gave it a month? I mean, I've been in business, I don't know, over 25 years now. So, I didn't give up the first time that nobody walked through the door. So you got to give it its fair justice just to get a result, an accurate result.
Yeah. People think that they just see this ad and maybe they spend time on it or whatever, or they just spend a bunch of money on it, and then they run it one time. They're like, "This is going to kill it." Everybody's going to buy it, and then it's
and
literally
then
never.
Terribly disappointed because nobody ever.
Yeah.
Half the audience was asleep or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. And so you've probably heard this, but like the rule of 7. Somebody needs to hear or see your business 7 times.
Right.
But now I always say this quote because it's so important, but that's like old school at this point, because if you get on Facebook now, YouTube, wherever you want to go social media wise, everybody's running ads. So
Right.
7 just doesn't cut it anymore.
Right.
And what I've heard is 21 is what the new number is.
I don't know that I believe that. I don't know if it would be that much, but I believe it's somewhere in between.
And so, I guess for certain avenues, maybe just radio, maybe it is the 7 times, I guess. but I'm more saying like, a big thing is Facebook ads, because if you scroll through there, like every 3, I think, is an ad, and you don't even realize how many ads you're seeing. So
Sure.
people
Sure.
just scroll past those nonstop.
Sure.
And it hasn't been proven. That's just what experts say. I haven't seen like a conclusive study on it, but yeah, I guess with the radio ads, it's probably a little bit easier to dial that in.
Well, shoot, Alex, I don't have to tell you. I mean, there's a you're a marketing guy, but there are some things that work for people, some things that don't, depending on what industry you're in and who you're trying to market to.
Yep.
Frequency is one of them for sure. And the radio is one of those frequency things that, so people aren't having to physically look at their phone to find, they just hear it. But it does take a lot of repetition, and it also takes a want and a need. So
Yeah.
I sent this mailer out, and that's why I chose contractors instead of homeowners, because contractors are going to have an immediate need, especially this time of year.
Yep.
Where homeowners, they may get them and just throw them in the trash, and they may never even look at them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an attractive piece, but maybe they don't have a need for a deck. They don't have any want for a deck, so they throw it away, and it's money wasted. So there's, again, repetition is important, but I think the electronic age is here, no question, and certainly things like digital advertising of some sort are a necessity, some for more than others, but the digital advertising is inexpensive. It's repetitive, and if it's fenced properly to certain people, then in a certain area, then you've captured that area, and you have a good chance of getting someone, when they do finally look for what it is you're looking for, in our case, decking, when they do finally come to the realization that they have to either build a deck or replace a deck, that digital advertising is sitting right in front of them. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be the mailer that I sent that they happen to keep, maybe if I was lucky. And certainly that's where the manufacturers come in, and being at least listed on their website to make sure that we're upfront, and it's got to be front of mind for someone to do something. So that's where the repetition comes in.
Yeah. And do you ever get people, I'm not sure what your ads say, but do people ever think, even with the postcards or radio, ever think that you're an installer?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No
make
question.
it clear in the ads that you are just a supplier, and people
We
still
do.
do that? Or
We do, especially on the radio advertising. Again, we don't want to be competition for the contractors. So we're after the homeowner business. We're after the contractor business that has been referred to us. So I don't ever want to compete against our contractor business.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious because I figured, with the ads we run, there's always people, even though it's a clear ad for, a new deck or something, people reach out wanting work, or like wanting to work with you or something.
Sure.
So there's always that confusion, I guess. So I figured you probably had something like that.
We get that all the time. People call us, and or they'll come in and say, well, I'm here I need a new deck. Well, are you going to do this yourself, or do you have a contractor? No, but we'll refer them. I mean, we'll refer contractors all the time. So we have a little box of about 20 different contractor cards in it that contractors have put in, and then we'll refer people based on their requirements, on what location they're in, how far away they are, whether they have a screen porch versus just a deck. So it really, we try and qualify them before we give out any cards, and we always give out 3 cards to someone. We never give a single card to anybody.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Again, because we don't want to limit it to one person, and we don't want the homeowner particularly to feel like they're being pushed in one direction or the other.
Right. Okay. And then on the digital side, I know you have a website. When was that built? Was that recent or a while ago?
About 5 years ago.
Okay.
So we changed it from Leisure to Outdoor Specialties, and we redid the website. And the website is critical. I mean, it is critical. If you don't have a website today, you might as well be sitting in the basement. So advertising in general is critical for any success in business, and hiring a pro to do it is more important. I mean, don't try and do this on your own. You wouldn't do what I do, and I'm not going to do what you do.
Yeah.
It's very important that, and your success depends on the quality of what gets done and how it gets done. But in any case, you have to take the initiative to get it done in the first place, and don't give up after the first time you try something. I think it's really important to spread it around. I don't think that any one avenue is the success that you're looking for, that an individual is looking for. I think they have to have multiple avenues to get their success accomplished.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you have to stay consistent with it, and it's just like you mentioned, if you just gave up with your business the first time, the first obstacle, then there's pretty much a guarantee you're not going to be successful. So definitely makes sense. Same thing with marketing. Is there any other types or any additional wisdom you'd like to share to the audience before we kind of wrap things up?
Oh, geez. Obviously I could sit here and talk for hours, so I won't do that to you. No, I can't say that there particularly is.
Okay.
It is important for people in general, contractors and homeowners alike, to seek out the knowledge from people that are in the business for whatever they do, whether it's marketing, whether it's decking, whether it's plastic piping, who knows. But it's really important that people gather the proper knowledge, and the thing that we specialize in is our displays. For example, we put a whole bunch of money into displays, into big displays, so that people can see products in a full size area, not in the little hand samples they can pick up anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, that is pretty much all the questions I had for you. I appreciate you coming out and doing this interview with us. I thought everybody definitely got their well, it's a free podcast, but got their money's worth.
Yeah, right.
But no, it was amazing. I really happy that you came out here and we did this in person. It was exciting, and I still want to see the shop too and come by and look at that.
My pleasure.
Maybe on a nicer day.
Yeah. And bring the kids, because my dog Molly loves kids, and she comes to work with me every day.
Yeah, you mentioned the spiral staircase. I'm picturing my son just climbing right up.
Sure.
Jumping on that thing and climbing up. But so going forward with the Fence and Deck Mastery podcast, we are going to be doing podcasts every single week. That's the plan. And I'm trying to just get more and more interesting people on here, just like Rudy here, sharing some different, sectors of the Fence and Deck business. So that's what I'm going to be doing every single week. I will be putting on my webinars that I do every month. Those will be as audio formats as well. And then if you do like short form content, so I do the podcast. I know there's a lot of Fence and Deck guys that are just in their trucks driving around, and it's easy. That's what I use as a podcast to kind of get my information when I'm transitioning or moving around. But we do the webinars that are live every month, so you can get on there and learn about digital marketing for fencing and decking. But if you like short stuff, you'll see some clips from this. We do short form content on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and I think that's it. But if you want to see just like minute clips, different things to help out your fencing or decking business, you can check it out there on all those channels, and get some value there hopefully. So that's about it. Thanks again, Rudy, for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
And luckily,
Thanks
it's
for
not,
having me.
Yeah, no problem.
got it.
Luckily, it's not too long of a drive home for you.
Nah, nothing to it.
All right.
We're
Take
almost
care, Rudy.
neighbors.